Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today we're going to be doing a cleaning video. This was actually by request of one of the viewers who was interested in a cleaning video on how to clean the MPX. Now, I do want to start this off by saying that there is no one proper way to clean any weapon. Everybody has their own way that they do things. So I'll be showing you my way, the way that I do it. And also the chemicals and the gear that I'm showing you here are what I like to use. Are they the only thing out there? Absolutely not. Everybody has their own favorite flavor of what oil they like to use, what lubricants, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'll just say right now that you can use whatever lubricants and everything that you want. This is what I prefer. Another thing we're going to be talking about here is a brand new cleaning kit by Otis Technology. This is called their Defender series. What this is based on is the iMod that Otis sells to the U.S. military and law enforcement configuration. This is a much more affordable option than what's sent to the U.S. military. And these are also for the commercial or LE market. There's several different ones for different calibers. So 940, 45, 556, 7.62, or you can do a combination of 556 and 9mm, 556 and 40, 556 and 45, 556 and 7.62. It comes in numerous different options. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the rifle today with the Otis Defender cleaning kit. And we're going to get right to it. First we're going to disassemble. Again, this video is not on the MPX itself. It's on the actual weapons maintenance, so we're not really going to take the time to go over what the gun is. We already have a previous video which actually shows that. So to start with, we're going to remove the magazine. And we're going to make sure the safety is engaged. We're going to pull back. We're going to check the chamber to make sure that it is empty, which it is. Now, when using this particular stock, you need to make sure that you have the stock fully extended when you disassemble. We're going to remove the rear and the front pivot pin. Separate the upper and lower receiver. Now we're going to remove the front handguard just by sliding it right off. Now we're going to pull the charging handle and the bolt mechanism out. This is as far as we're going to go on the upper receiver. Now the bolt mechanism itself, we're going to take this down a little bit further. So we're going to slide backward on the springs. We're going to remove the captive end. Remove the two recoil springs. Two guide rods are going to slide right out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to disassemble the bolt carrier group. This is the same way you would any M16 type rifle. Push inward. Remove the retaining pin. Firing pin is going to drop right out. Rotate the cam pin. That will drop right out as well. Pull the bolt out itself. And we're going to remove the extractor assembly. This is only done one way. Okay, this is as far as we actually disassemble the carbine itself. So we're going to go into the Otis kit. We're going to pull out some components here that we're going to discuss. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what all these things are here too. This is Otis's new ripcord. This is designed for is to clean the barrel in a field expeditious manner. This is not designed to replace the cleaning with solvent and a brush. It's designed for removing just basically gunpowder residue and surface material out of the barrel itself. What we have here is a traditional Otis cable, which is actually has a piece of rubber in here, which gives you a really tight, clean, ripcord to barrel fit. Then it's wrapped in a material called Nomex. This is what a lot of flight gloves are made out of. It's a really, really, really durable material. Now, you can attach person's cleaning brushes and swabs. You can attach them to this if you would need to. We don't go with the bore snake type mentality, which you have it, the bristles built into the ripcord itself. Quite frankly, I've done work on bore snakes myself. I did a lot of evaluation, and I was not very pleased with them due to the fact that with multiple times it being pulled through the barrel, it was actually scoring the inside of the barrel. We actually saw the scoring of the barrel on the inside utilizing a bore scope. So for us, if you decide you want to use an Otis kit with one of our brushes will not damage the barrel. They're soft copper, and it will not damage the barrel whatsoever. Another thing this is really good for is for a hunting or law enforcement or military applications if the muzzle gets stuck in mud or whatever and it gets plugged. Basically all you got to do is you insert the end into the barrel. And again, we're pulling everything from breech to muzzle. Pull through, and that will clear any obstruction that you have in your barrel for as far as dirt, mud, sand, or whatever. But again, I like to make sure people do understand that this is not for complete cleaning. That's a good field tool. And all this actually comes with the Defender kit. Generally, where I like to start is I like to start by soaking the barrel because I'm going to use that patch to clean the rest of the gun. So we're going to take our cable, and then we have our slotted tip. Those of you who aren't familiar with Otis kits, there's two slotted tips. One's for the 22 caliber and one's for everything else, so you're going to use the ones for everything else. Now, for anybody who is not familiar with Otis, this is the most important thing that you got to learn, is actually how you thread a patch. You see there are 3 holes. You're going to insert the patch saver through one of them, and depending on the actual caliber that you're dealing with is how much you're going to want to pitch and pull through. 9mm is fairly large, so what we're going to do is we're going to grip a little bit more, slide it through. We're going to cover that over. Now, the solvent that I like to use is G96 bore solvent because, well, it's an excellent solvent, and also what it does is it has a lot of good for taking down carbon, taking down even some copper fouling. It does a really good job at all those. So I'm going to cover this back up so we don't spill any. And we're going to insert that from breech to muzzle. We're going to pull that right through. Now what we're going to do is we are going to let that soak a little bit. Now I'm going to take that patch off, and I'm going to go to the bolt itself. So I'm going to clean around the outside, get all the debris off the actual lugs itself. Then we have the inside here. You'll see there's a lot of fouling as well. Again, this is the best tool you can have. It's the Q-tips. A lot of garbage will come out of that actual area itself. Definitely want to inspect the breech face itself to make sure there's no fouling on there. Want to keep that nice and clean. The extractor itself, you will also see there's some built up garbage there as well. So we're going to scrub that up. And just to make sure that we're got the extractor nice and clean when you use the brush, then we're going to get the extractor itself. Make sure that's nice and clean. There's no garbage in there, so nothing's going to impede on it being able to grab onto the rim. I'm going to grab a little rag here. I tend to be a little more thorough on this than a lot of people. It's just whether it be a military upbringing or whether it just be you know, wanting to keep everything clean. I take quite a bit of time when I actually do this. And then this particular cloth here has got G96 gun treatment on it, which is this stuff right here, and that's going to put a nice preservative on it. So our bolt is nice and spotless like it's supposed to be. Now the frying pan itself will always have a little bit of garbage on there. So we're going to make sure that that's all nice and clean as well. The actual cam pin itself. Make sure that's nice and clean. Now we're looking at the carrier itself. Go a little bit on the inside of that one as well. Get a little bit of fouling in there too. You know, this is the external piston gun. You still do get fouling back there. So we're going to take the lid of the G96 gun treatment. The G96 has never failed me for as far as being an excellent preservative. Even being here in Texas where you have the humidity and all, still never had a single bit of rust. Now the bolt's nice and clean, we can reassemble it. Always make sure that your extractor is on the right side when you install your cam pin. Now with the MPX, there's two dots on here that you line up, so it's lined up properly. You drop the frying pin in place. Now we insert the cam pin, or the frying pin retaining pin. Now our bolt assembly is back together. Now to reassemble the recoil mechanism itself, we drop the two guides, spring guides. Do one of these at a time. Okay, now we're right back at it. It never hurts to put a little bit of lubricant on the actual springs themselves. So I'll go ahead and put a little bit on there. And that's really all we got to do with the bolt mechanism. Now we're going to go back to the barrel. We have this a patch that's still soaked with solvent to clean in the inside. So now we're going to take the cable. Now there's two different bar brushes in here. One is the polymer, one is the copper. Some people like using polymer. For me, the only time I would use polymer is if I was using a semi-nixon's pipe, or there's any kind of a polymer that was in the barrel. For any law enforcement, military guys who use semi-nixons, the proper way to remove all that fouling out of the barrel, the plastic, is not to use solvent, and it is not to use a wire brush. If you use a standard plastic bore brush, that will rip that plastic right out. So again, you guys who are using semi-nixons, pay attention to that. That's how you get all that fouling out of there. So I'm going to be using the copper brush. Again, for 9mm, we're going to use a 38. 0.357, 0.355, same one. Sort that. And again, we do the breech to muzzle. No magic number. I generally like to do 5 times, 4 or 5 times. This gun is not really dirty. It's already been cleaned a while ago. But again, we got a reviewer request, so we always try to answer our viewer requests whenever we can possible. Okay, now I'm going to remove the bronze brush. Now we're going to run the patches through. Now theoretically you should be able to use each patch 6 times, but due to the fact that the first one is going to get really wet, I generally will replace it after the first go. Breech to muzzle. Now you see some blue on the patch. That blue indicates copper from the bore that's been broken down and removed. A good copper solvent, that's what you will see, is you will see that blue. And that's the reason why I like the G96. For the most part, if you're not seeing any blue, you're only removing carbon and powder residue. You're not really removing any of the copper fouling itself. We're flipping that over, so we're going to use the same patch again. As I said, I had previously cleaned this barrel, so I'm not expecting a lot out of it. Now what I'm going to do is there's going to be some, in the actual chamber itself, there's going to be some residue by just sticking that right in the end there. We're going to be cleaning that chamber out as well. So again, this barrel is pretty much already clean. What I'm going to do now is once you use a heavy copper solvent, such as what I just did, you want to neutralize it, because if you don't neutralize it, it'll keep eating away at the barrel, and it can actually damage the barrel. So by utilizing a good oil, you can use CLP for this, you can use whatever. Me being a creature of habit, my favorite one to use is Croyle. This is available at Brownells for anybody who's interested. This works excellent to actually deactivate a very strong solvent. And not only does it do that, it gives you a really good firm corrosion resistant coating. Last thing I like to do with the inside of here is I have to clean around the area where the barrel extension is. You can see you can get quite a bit out of there. And now with the G96 still on this rag, we'll clean up the inside of the receiver. And when it's dry, I'll just spray a little bit inside there too. Just puts a nice lubrication inside there. The handguard itself does not require anything other than maybe a little bit of a wipe down. So doesn't get really dirty. So now we're just going to reassemble that back on. Well, let me do one more thing first. So I'll get a good lubrication on the barrel as well, or preservative. Still waiting for my tax stamp on this one, so don't know when it's going to be the next time I shoot it. Now, for as far as the charging handle itself, same thing. We're just going to wipe it down. Make sure the bolt's in the unlock position. The upper is completely done here. We're just going to take a look at the lower. The lower, you will see some residue in there. Due to this being a pistol caliber itself, you do see a lot of unburnt propellant in there. If you can get access to an air compressor or a can of bottled air, that's the best way to go about doing it. Here we have some compressed air, not much in it, but makes a difference. Scrub some of these parts up a little bit. Bolt catch. I like to get underneath the bolt catch as well, and then in the front. Inside the magazine well. I'll spray a little bit on the outside here too. The newer the gun is too, the more of this oil it's going to soak right up. This one's still fairly new, so it's sucking that G96 right up. As far as lubrication is concerned, it doesn't require a lot of lubrication. We can put a couple dots on the hammer springs, disconnector springs. For as far as the bolt mechanism itself, the only place that I would really lubricate on here at all would be is I would put the drop into the cam track here and a drop right there, and that'll be sufficient for as far as oil is concerned. The G96 that's on the outside of here will take care of the outside. You don't need a lot of oil with these modern guns. You know, this has actually got a boron type finish to it itself, which does assist a little bit with that. A lot of people just like to gob them with oil. You know, that's not how I do it. You know, but again, like I told you in the beginning, that everybody has their own way that they like to go about doing this. We're going to put the one back together. And every time you take a gun apart and put it back together, the thing you're going to want to do is a function check. So, cock it back, put the safety on. Safe direction, pull the trigger, you should not hear anything. Flip this over to semi, pull the trigger, you should hear a metallic click. That's the hammer falling. Hold the trigger to the rear, pull back and release, and you should hear an audible click when you release the trigger. That's the hammer resetting to the trigger. Pull again, hammer's falling, pull back to the rear, hear an audible click. That is basically how I've maintained the MPX. Basically, we'll be doing the exact same thing for the MCX. You'll see I don't use a lot of oil. I like to make use of the G96. For as far as the chemicals themselves are concerned, you see I got a couple different manufacturers here of everything. I do use a lot of the G96 products themselves. Their CLP is actually a fully synthetic. This is the U.S. military issue, which works in all weather conditions. Heat, humidity, severe cold, severe heat. It works very well, and it takes quite a bit to make it burn off, unlike a lot of other ones. The G96 solvent, there's a lot of good copper solvents out there. It's just my preference using the G96 solvent. As you saw, the blue on the patch itself, which shows that it is removing copper from the inside of the barrel. And again, these kind of guns where you're shooting a lot of rounds, I mean, you do deposit quite a bit of copper in there. And it's not like a sniper rifle where you want to have a certain amount of fouling. The more copper you get out of there, the longer the barrel's going to last. The G96 gun treatment is a awesome preservative. So guns are going into storage, they need to be wiped down. You just spray that on there, that takes care of it. I've used that literally since I was a teenager. I was given my first can by a friend, and I've used it ever since. And I have a rather large gun collection that's in a very humid environment down here in Texas, and I use this. I have never had a single issue with rust whatsoever. And the Croil, it's just a really good oil for deactivating copper solvents. You can use any oil, but this is just one that I like because it's multi-purpose. I use it for if I ever come across guns that I'm working on that have any rust on them, like screws and whatnot. It's a really good solvent. The kit that you saw here is available from Otis Technology. Everything that I used here came with that kit, with the exception of the rags themselves and the Q-tips. It does come with some of the Otis 085 solvent. The solvent that comes with the Otis Technology kit is their 085 Smart Solvent. This is a commercial grade solvent. It is similar to CLP, but it has more cleaning detergents than it does for lubrication. So this is a good all-round one when you can only carry one bottle. But keep in mind that this particular one, the 085, has more cleaning detergents in it than it does actual lubrication. That's why instead of using one, I use three or four different ones. This does all of them a little bit. It's the same concept as the military grade CLP. These are a little bit different, but it's still, if you can only carry one, you can use these. But if you want something to do a proper job cleaning a barrel, you have a proper solvent. A proper job at preserving, you have a preservative. And a proper lubricant, these both will work very well as lubricants. But for as far as cleaning and preserving, I tend to like to use specific products that are devoted to those two tasks. Weapons maintenance is something I take very seriously. I travel throughout the world working with law enforcement and militaries on this specific topic. In fact, I'm heading over to the Ukraine very soon to work with the Ukrainian military and police. By properly maintaining your weapon, not only will it be more reliable, it will also last longer. I do have some staple equipment that I will use anytime I'm cleaning a weapon. You will always see Otis cleaning kits. They make the best cleaning kits in the industry. There's absolutely no doubt about it. As far as the chemicals are concerned, I've used the same chemicals for, 10 plus years. I have always used G96 solvents, G96 gun treatment. I have always used Croil. They are just staples that I've grown to trust and rely on over many, many years. This particular cleaning kit is brand new this year. I think it was introduced at the SHOT Show, the Defender series. The MPX pistol was cleaned using pretty much only the equipment that was available in this kit. This kit was very thorough with the cables, with the bore brushes, with the patch savers. It has everything that was necessary. The only thing that I added to it were Q-tips and my solvents. Again, my solvents are different. This comes with the 085, which is designed if you were only to carry this kit and you couldn't carry with you an actual solvent, an actual cleaner, an actual lubricant. So for me doing cleaning in this environment, I was able to use all my chemicals. However, if I was in the field and I wasn't able to have all these chemicals, the Otis 085 is a perfect cleaner, lubricant, and preservative to use in the field. So it really depends on what conditions that you're in. All Otis kits are available online on otistech.com. They have the full line of Defender kits in all different calibers and caliber combinations that they have. They're available right online. For as far as the chemicals is concerned, G96 is also available online. The coil, I actually purchased at Brownells. So those are everything that I have is very easily purchased. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me a comment, and I'll try and get back to you. And if you have any other requests for specific firearms you'd like to get cleaning instructions on, please let me know. And if I have access to those guns, I'll be happy to do them for you. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please click like and please subscribe.